Hey y'all, I'm Hope. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm putting together my February TBR, and I'm doing this a little bit early to give myself some extra time to get everything edited. My reading for the semester so far has been pretty dense, so I want to give myself a little extra time to get everything edited, so I'm working on this kind of mid-January. We'll see how this goes, because it's entirely possible that I film this now and then I get to February and I go, I don't want to read any of these books, but we're just gonna go with it, see how this works out for me, and yeah, that's pretty much the plan. As usual, I'm gonna be playing my TBR Betrayal TBR game, and I think that's it. There's no housekeeping, so let's just dive into the game and see what the board gives me for February. Alright, apologies for the weird angle. We had a little fun setting up today, but first things first, let's find out who we're playing this month. We got a 2, which is Cersei, who has a knowledge stat of 4, so I need to have 4 books in my TBR. Alrighty, it looks like we left off right about here at the end of last month, so I've got the video pulled up on my screen here. So we left off there, so let's go ahead and roll for book number 1 of 4, and also I should mention the Omen counter is returned to 0 since I started the hunt at the end of last month. So we are back to 0 on omens. And we got a 4. I don't know if that's gonna be visible. We got a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that works out in my favor because that is a mood read, so I can pick whatever I want for that. Up first, we got a mood read, and this actually works really well for me for February because my reading for school has been so dense. I think that this is a nice little way to start the month, or at least start this particular game of TBR Betrayal, getting to kind of pick whatever I want to put on my TBR. And I'm actually going to help myself out a little bit here because I'm going to put a book that I need to read for class in this mood read slot. So I'm going to be reading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is a reread for me. This is one of my favorite books. And I'm excited about this because I'm actually reading a different version of the text. There's a few different versions of Frankenstein, and I've originally read what I believe is the most common. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure I've read the later edited version from like the 1830s. This is the 1818 text, which I think is one of the original versions, or it might be the second version with Percy Shelley's edits, I think maybe. Anyway, this is an earlier version of the text than what I've read before, and I'm reading it for a class that I'm taking on revolutionary women in 19th century British literature. So we're reading a lot of texts by women who wrote around the time of or just after the French Revolution, and we're talking about whether we can describe there being like a tradition of revolution in the works of this period. So I'm really excited about this. I think it'll be a fun and interesting way to approach this text, a way that I haven't really thought about it before, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to reread it. Rolling for book number 2. We got a 3. So 1, 2, 3. Got an item. Let's see what we get. A book with a dark cover. Seems doable. So, rolling again for book number 2. We got a 4. Like, which direction? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got another item, which is going to be fun because I don't think I've had this happen before. Highest rated. Rolling again for book number 2. We got a 1, which is in fact a prompt. So let's see. A horror book with a dark cover that's highest rated on, probably I'll use Goodreads. That'll be interesting. Next, we ended up with an interesting situation because I don't think I've ever gotten 2 items for a single prompt before, but this needed to be a horror book that had a dark cover and was highest rated. So for this, what I did was I made a list of all the horror books on my own TBR that have dark covers because I'm trying to prioritize my own TBR. And I went through and pulled all the ratings up on Goodreads to figure out which one had the highest rating out of those. And that turned out to be Dracula by Bram Stoker. So this is going to be interesting because I've never read Dracula, but it's a book I've been meaning to get to for ages, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm really going to like it. I just have never managed to fit it in. So I think this is cool that this is on my TBR for the month, and I do think I'll manage to get to this one, in part because I also have an audiobook of this, which I think is like a full cast audiobook that looked really good, and I listened to the sample and it sounded like it was going to be really engaging and like keep my attention. So I think that that'll be a fun way to experience this, maybe doing a hybrid read both with the physical text and the audio. But I'm really excited to finally get to Dracula, and at that point then I'll be able to read A Dowry of Blood, which is on my shelf at the moment. I bought that at the end of last year, and I know so many people have loved that, but I felt like I really wanted to read the original Dracula before I read that, so I would really get a sense of the story and have the context for it. So I'm pretty excited that this ended up being the highest rated one. Right, rolling for book number 3. We got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we got a challenge. So let's roll to find out which challenge we're going to be doing. Challenge number 6. Alright, challenge number 6 is Forbidden Knowledge. A mysterious being blocks your path and hands you a scroll, claiming it can tell you the future. Read the scroll if you dare, and attempt a knowledge roll of 5+ to decipher the strange words. If you succeed at the next omen, sorry, I made a change to this at some point and I forgot that I had done that. Pull an omen and keep it if you like, or rule it out if you don't. So we have a knowledge stat of 4, which means that the highest I could normally roll would be an 8. So we'll use a d8 for this. And we need to get 5+ for this to work. We got a 1, so I do not get to pull an omen or rule it out. Alright, continuing on for book number 3. Another 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We got another mood read, which is very exciting for me. This is being much kinder to me this month. And then we got another mood read, which this has not happened in a very long time. There was one month back, like early on when I made the game, where I ended up with a bunch of mood reads, but usually I don't get more than one in a month. So this was exciting. I got another one, and again, this is great for me for February. And I'm once again putting a book I need to read for class on my list with this mood read. This one is for the same 19th century literature class, and I'm going to be reading Persuasion by Jane Austen, which I think we're starting like right after we finish Frankenstein, so this worked out really nicely. But this is one of Jane Austen's books I haven't read yet. So far I've just read Pride and Prejudice and Northanger Abbey, but I absolutely love both of those, so I'm really excited to be getting to Persuasion, and I actually get to write a paper on this one, so I'm excited about that. This class we have to do these problem papers where we bring up some sort of question that we had about the text and write a paper that we have to present to the class. And I got my second choice for which week I wanted to do it. We had to give her like 3 options of weeks that we wanted to present. So I got my second choice, so I'm very excited about that because it means I get to write about Persuasion, and I think that this is going to be a really fun experience, and I really like Jane Austen's writing, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. And lastly, rolling for book number 4. We got a 4 yet again. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is also a mood read. The TBR Betrayal gods really smiled on me today because we got another mood read. And again, this has not happened in a very long time where I've gotten multiple mood reads in a month. But this is very exciting for me for February because it gives me a lot of leeway. Now for this last one, I'm not putting in something that I need to read for class. I thought about carrying over something from January that I don't think I'm going to get to, but I've actually decided to put something here for the Buzzwordathon theme for the month, which for February is books with a verb in the title. So I've chosen Sign Here by Claudia Lux because sign or to sign is a verb. And I've heard so many people talking about this. It just sounds like a lot of fun. It follows this guy named, I think, Peyote Trip, who works in hell, and he just needs one more person out of this family to sell their soul so he can get a promotion. And it's about everything he's doing to try and get that to happen, as well as about like the family drama happening in this Harrison family that he's kind of after for their souls. I think this sounds like it's a lot of fun. I've heard so many good reviews of this book. I know it made the rounds a few months ago on BookTube, and I haven't seen it on Book Talk, but I've seen it a lot on BookTube. I think it was like a Book of the Month pick, so a lot of people were reading it right when it came out, and it just sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm really excited about this one, and I think it'll be nice as something a little bit lighter since I seem to have a lot of classics on my TBR this month. I think it'll be fun to have something a little bit different to kind of break things up a little. So those are all the books that I need to read for my TBR Betrayal game, which worked out really, really well for me. Like, it's mostly stuff I already had to read or things that I think I can fit in around some of my schoolwork that I think aren't going to be too dense. I do have a couple more books I would like to read in February. So the first one of those is that I have an arc of A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher, which is her next horror book. I read What Moves the Dead last year and absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I had so much fun reading it. I really like the humor that she uses in her books. That really worked for me. I guess I just kind of click with that sense of humor. So I'm really excited for this one. I believe this is about a girl who returns to her family home after the death of her grandmother and finds that things are very much not okay. And there are like vultures circling the house in like increasing numbers. So I'm really interested to see how this book is gonna go. I'm excited that I get I get to read an arc of it. I think that's gonna be really fun. So yeah, I want to go ahead and read that in February if I can, because it comes out in March, I think on like March 24th or something. I don't remember the exact date, but I'll put it on screen somewhere. But I'm going to try and read that in advance because I'm a little bit behind on arcs at the moment, so I'd like to kind of get caught back up with those. The other two things that I'd like to read are both for TBR Knockout, which I think I'm failing at currently this month, but I would like to try again next month. And for February, the theme for TBR Knockout is Black History Month. And so the first prompt is to read a book by a Black author, and I've chosen The Deep by River Solomon. This is a book I've started, and I was really enjoying it when I was reading it. I think, listening to the audiobook, which is narrated by David Diggs, who does a phenomenal job. I just was in a bit of a reading slump at the time, and I felt like I wasn't giving the book my full attention, so I really wanted to kind of set it down and come back to it when I was ready, and I feel like I am now. So this is a pretty short book. I think I can do it in February, even with everything else going on. And I might try to get the audiobook again, because I was really enjoying that experience. And then the other prompt for TBR Knockout is to read a book about an issue affecting the Black community. And for this, I've chosen Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, which is a nonfiction book about feminism and how traditional, mostly white feminisms have failed women of color. I think this is a really interesting topic, and I'm really wanting to learn more about it. It's not something I know a lot about, but I've encountered some of these ideas a little bit as a sociology student in undergrad, and it's just something I would like to increase my knowledge about. So these are all of the books that I am going to try and read in February, plus my arc, obviously. But I'm really excited about this. I think this is a really fun TBR. I know I'm going to be reading 2 of these at least because I have to read them for class, so that kind of helps a little bit in that, like, it feels more doable because I know I'm going to be getting to some of these just regardless. But I am really excited about finally reading Dracula and kind of making a path for myself to read A Dowry of Blood soon. And Sign Here, so many good reviews, very excited about that. And then The Deep and Hood Feminism are both books that I've been really meaning to get to for a while now, and I'm really excited about all of these books. So honestly, the board was really nice to me this month, which makes me a little bit scared for March, what it's going to do for that. And I think this is a little bit more doable than my January TBR has been. As I said before, I've been kind of underwater with arcs, and I've been trying to get caught back up on that. I've had some library books come in, so my January TBR has kind of not gone as well as I had hoped. But regardless, I am really looking forward to February, and I'm enjoying being in a reading mood again lately, so I think it's doable. But that is all I have for you today. If you like this video, let me put stuff down. If you like this video, I hope you'll consider giving it a like and maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting every Tuesday and Saturday, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.